Have you talked about Saudi Arabia trying to hold the West hostage with oil again? Will we ever put them on the back foot for a change? Dude, holy shit. I can't believe I might be moved over on this, man. But like if America isn't going to commit to like massive renewable energy or whatever infrastructure, then maybe we should just frack. I don't know, man. Because it's like we get our oil domestically or we get it from foreign sources, and the foreign sources are economies that are entirely reliant on oil production, so they'll fuck us over unless we have the most pro-oil presidents in office. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's like if we're not we're burning the oil anyway, you know? How much of our oil do we get domestically? Where does US get its oil? We get a lot of our own oil. We need nuclear? No, no, no. I want renewable. I want nuclear. But as long as we're not getting that, I would rather our oil come from our own sources rather than being held hostage by like fucking theocratic fascists, where a bunch of like pedophile royal princes can only get their $1 billion a second paychecks if we continue to be completely oil dependent, you know? The US only gets 5% of its oil from Saudi. 5%? The Saudis are lowering prices for Europe, which means global prices will decrease, which helps the US. Wait, I thought I heard that the Saudi government was raising the price of oil. Hold on. Why can't they just get a pie chart? Top 5 countries, Canada, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Colombia. But this is from, no, this is from August 2022. God damn it, this might be complicated. I don't want to know where our imports come from. I want to know what we burn, because we export a lot too. I just, somebody else has a good chart that I can look at. Oh, where oil comes from. God damn, Texas! 42.4%? Top 5 crude oil producing states, their percentage shares. God damn. Texas fucking drilling it out. Holy shit. I thought more came from Alaska. I thought a lot more came from Alaska. Okay. Top 5 crude oil producing countries. Yeah, we produce more crude oil than any other country on Earth. More than Russia or Saudi Arabia. Whatever. This seems really complicated. I don't want to run my my mouth off. I'll try to read up more on it. But do we use it all? Well, if I remember correctly, right now Biden is absolutely burning through our reserves. Yeah, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is getting absolutely nuked right now. I wish it was full of nuclear energy. Is this it? All the reserves will be burned through anyway? I mean, we're doing it pretty quickly. Yeah, geez. And this isn't even up to date. This is this goes up to July 1st. Yeah, this isn't down to 0. See the scale on the y-axis. But like the actual thing would go out to here, you know. No, whatever. Whatever. World's ending anyway. No big. Me when I learn about America's oil dependence, but what we're reflecting on right now is the fact that we're not that dependent by nature. Like we can produce more oil than any other country on Earth. Why don't politicians advocate for the expansion of nuclear energy? Because people are retarded. Because the advocacy for nuclear energy has everything to do with like public opinion and nothing to do with the real world. It's 100% an optics game, you know. People have such strong opinions on this shit. Oh, thank you, Econo Boy. Yeah, here's a yeah, here, see? US ending stocks SPR of crude oil and petroleum products. See, it's dropping now. Yoink. It's all over. That's true, Cryomancer Cat. Do you think younger generations will be more open to it? I think young people tend to, yeah. It's mostly people who were politically active during, like, 3 Mile Island or Chernobyl in America who are anti-nuclear. It's more like Gen Xers or whatever. No, I guess that'd be the generation before. Whatever. How you guys doing? A nuclear disaster makes a place unlivable for 1,000 years, and oil or gas disaster is fixable within a few years. Okay, I understand you're saying that, but that's not how it plays out, like, in real life. In real life, oil and gas kill exponentially more people through production than nuclear disasters will. Modern nuclear power plants are really, 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 really safe. But modern oil and gas, like processing and everything, kill a fuck ton of people by poisoning the world around them. The main difference is that, like, nuclear disasters are like big press events, you know? But nobody talks about the tens of thousands of people who die through the pollution or whatever. Hundreds of thousands, you know? It like makes for work. It's like mass shootings, right? Like mass shootings represent a tiny, 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 tiny portion of the total gun deaths in America, but people act like it's an epidemic, which it is, like, proportioned to itself, but not relative to actual gun deaths, you know. But mass, like, mass casualty events make for much better, like, news stories. So that's what gets covered, Um, yeah, we have bad risk assessment. Yeah. Or yeah, car deaths versus plane deaths. Planes are the safest way to travel. Per person per mile, planes are safer than any other method by far. People die every day by the thousands to cars. But when a plane crashes, that's news for days. Nobody goes on like a multi-day like news bent for the constant like fucking holocaust that is like car deaths in the US. 46,000 people die every year in crashes on US roadways. And then you got to include like the pollution from the cars and shit. It's like a whole fucking. And then all the people who die from being fat asses because their cities make them drive everywhere so they never get any exercise. Pretty sure trains beat out planes. No, I think planes are safer than trains by a little bit. Trains are much safer than driving. But I think, yeah, trains are 3 times more dangerous than flying. But that's because you're doing it per person, per mile, and planes will take people in the farthest journeys. Also, planes are insanely safe. Like, trains are so much safer than cars. Like, cars are just so dangerous that it's like a scaling thing. The main reason why is because if you're in a plane, you can't hit anything because you're in the air. If you're in a car or a train and a mistake happens, congratulations, you're 0 inches away from the thing you can collide with to cause damage. If you're in a plane and anything like briefly goes wrong, like you just stable out. That happens all the times on planes, like brief like shudder, like turbulence or whatever. But you're in the air, so you're fine. Even if it's spooky. Thoughts in cars with spherical tires. Great idea. Oh, for sure, logical pretzels. Yeah. Vaush, you're literally fucking retarded in the subject. Please don't talk about trains and planes like you know what you're talking about. What am I supposed to do with this? What am I wrong on? I can't. How do I even make fun? I can't even like rebuke you because you're not even saying what I'm wrong about. How do I respond to that? Yeah, like it's like a proportion thing, right? A kind of boy. In the 70s, it was more dangerous, like per capita, but now there's just so much more driving going on. So everyone drives everywhere all the time. Planes. Keep in mind also, trains probably have a slightly elevated death rate in America just because we underinvest in them a lot, right? Like planes get well invested in. Like we rely heavily on planes. Trains not so much. So I'm willing to bet that some of the deaths associated with trains could probably be chalked up to the fact that we don't really budget for them that well. That's just a guess. Like I don't have the numbers in front of me. That'd be like a feeling that I have. It's dope, Rainbow. Never a kind of boy. Planes and trains have more precautions than cars ever could. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, in a way, like from a safety perspective, cars are kind of like the end point of the individualization of transportation and safety. Because if a plane crashes or a train crashes, the government or company gets sued, right? But if a car crashes, it doesn't. Like basically ever, unless there's some very specific problem with the car. So like in a way, it's like all of the problems with car infrastructure, like unsafe interchanges or unsafe crossroads or intersections, like overly high speeds for turns, like poorly marked areas of the road, poor road maintenance, all these things, even though they're a problem with the state, if you die to them, nobody sues the state over it. It's just like, oh yeah, that road is just like that. That road's just shit. Be careful there. But if anything bad happens with a plane or a train, lawsuits get filed out because we recognize that it's an institutional problem with the people responsible for upkeeping that. So it's like the ultimate, individualization, right? Like in the car, like all deaths are your fault, so nobody's liable. Um, this is the same thing that the Tesla does with its autopilot, where like if it's about to crash, it'll relinquish the autopilot. So technically when you crash and die, it's your fault and not the autopilot's. That's in Teslas, right? Or like they're talking about that, where like even if the autopilot is going to like fling you into a wall at 70 miles an hour, it just before the collision, it turns off autopilot so that legally you did it. So like even though you were literally directly killed by Elon Musk, like he might as well have personally shot you in the head, like he can't be held legally liable. Yeah, like 0.0002 seconds before impact or something. Wait, is that true? Oh, well, hold on, I think it's true. Tesla autopilot shuts off before crash. Yeah, look, literally. NHTSA finds Tesla's deactivated autopilot seconds before crashes. Yeah. I don't even think they talk about this publicly. So basically, they're trying to sneak it by you. Like, yeah, even if our like bad systems literally just fucking kill you, it's your fault because like legally it wasn't us. You know? Yeah, it's literally like supervillain shit. You know? Because there will be people who die to this just purely due to faults in the software, and like you know that like Tesla representatives are going to come into court and be like, actually, it's your fault for not rescuing the car from this impossible situation like 1 second after control was relinquished to you by the autopilot. It's not even that. They turn it off quicker in construction sites. They don't have it as much liability. I'd have to see another article on that. Yanatris, you can already override autopilot anytime by taking over the controls. They're just relinquishing it purely for liability reasons. Like cruise control, if you grab the steering wheel and turn it, like you can override the autopilot. I heard from an engineer it was to keep a car from driving after it crashes too. That seems like cope. You could easily design autopilot to turn off on impact. Turning off before impact is a totally separate system. Yeah, no. That's not why it's there. I'm sorry, Posadas John. Do engineers have a code of ethics? How does this fly? They do what the company tells them to, and the company is run by a CEO who is appointed by the board of directors, and the board of directors is voted on by the shareholders. And the shareholders want to make as much money as possible. It has nothing to do with ethics. It's just a matter of what the company can get away with within the bounds of the law. Or if they can get away with breaking the law, which they often can.